Adonis Lattimore is a distinguished wrestler.
The Class 6A, 106-pound state champ.
A distinction from not only the success he had on high school mats across Virginia, but achieving it with what he doesn't have.
I was born without the 4 other fingers on my right hand, right leg, and a full left leg.
Adonis and his parents, Gerald and Demetra, have long known how to wrestle. From struggle, since embracing the unexpected at Adonis's birth in 2004.
We were not aware of his condition until he was actually delivered. The umbilical cord wrapped around a limb, and the limb wasn't able to develop. So you could tell that something was wrong.
It was multiple emotions. I mean, it was the excitement of life, but then it was also the grief of lost limbs.
I was sitting there and the nurse said, things happen for a reason, and I was chosen to be his parent.
The first question that I think people always want to ask is what happened and then why? I had to accept the fact that there wasn't going to be a why, and this is what God has given us. And so we accept that. God makes some mistakes.
Adonis, what is the greatest challenge?
There are some things I want to do myself, but oftentimes I can't do them. I don't want to rely on other people, become a burden to them. So that's always been my biggest weakness, but it's also a strength because I'm not totally defenseless. I can't worry about what I don't have. I just need to focus on what I do have. One of the 7 deadly sins is envy, or to want something that someone else has. I want to figure out a way to do it myself and make it my own.
It's been hard as far as raising someone that has a uniqueness like him. We have 3 other kids. I'm navigating through how to do things differently than what people take for granted. The little teeny things, you know, the door width, entry on the sidewalk, that's safe. Letting him know that even though it's not the traditional way that things are done, that you still can do it.
You have a lower sight line. What do you see that some of us may never see?
Just like the foundation of everything, I see lower to the ground than most people, so I notice like how things are structured, how things are built up, and what's keeping them up. Things that people take for granted that I tend to notice a lot more.
How does the likeness of God look different when you look at your son?
We're made into the image of God, and when I look at Adonis, everybody has something unique people are drawn to. Embrace it, ask God to show you the way to deal with it, and give you those tools to carry on. No matter how different we all are loved.
You elected the name Adonis.
Yep.
Why?
The meaning of Adonis' name is God's blessing. It comes from the African proverb, we embrace the name. He's embodied, I would say. Each person has their own identity, that we wanted him to be who he was, and what God has in store for him.
What was it about the sport of wrestling?
I competed in sports all throughout my childhood, and I just wanted him to know what it felt like to be able to compete, to allow his abilities to either make the determination of how well he did or didn't do. When he decided that that was something that he wanted, I just wanted to be there and just make sure that if he loves it, then it's a love that I have.
To become a wrestler, where did that come from?
That ability to win on my own instead of with other team sports where I'm sort of relying on teammates just as well.
Because of your unique composition, what it gives you an advantage?
The mental fortitude. Since I've been tested in life a lot more than the average person would be just in daily life, then when I come to the mat, there's not much that can rattle me.
Virginia State Wrestling Champion. That was a goal for a while.
Mm-hmm. Just a childhood dream, one of the higher accomplishments that you could do in wrestling. The name sort of sounded appealing to me, and that's what I wanted to do. And then as I grew older, to fulfill that dream sort of became stronger.
Putting together faith and determination.
You need to have a strong faith even when you can't see something happening, and to tie that to your determination is just as an important aspect as having that faith. There was a point in wrestling where I felt like giving up, and the pressure to fulfill my goal had gotten too much for me to handle. I saw God working. I had faith that he was gonna help me revive my dream.
And in the title match, what for you was the turning point?
There's about a minute left. A thought popped in my head that I don't know if I can do this. Just turned off my brain, and then I started wrestling freely. It was almost like I was being guided, but eventually I scored the final points to win the match.
That championship win. What was going through your mind in that moment?
Just a rush of excitement and just joy. That's something that he said he wanted to do. The journey that come to fruition, priceless. Him to have his moment. To be recognized after the match where they're taking their podium, they're getting their medals. Man, it's the moment that goes back to when he was born, that grief, but also that happiness.
Let's go back to that picture of you embracing Adonis. You're carrying his full weight. How does love shoulder more than what we realize we can carry?
It symbolizes what God does for us on a day in and day out basis. The weight that God is carrying, that he carries for us, he's always there. He's always got us. And I don't know what I would do or what I would be if it wasn't for what God continuously does in my life.
Out comes Dad in a full embrace. How does love shoulder more?
I think love carries with it doubt, sadness, fears, anxiety. It carries both the positive and negative things with it, and that's what makes unconditional love. Loving you no matter what and always pulling you back up. Jesus' love, even when it seems like something random happened, even my birth can sort of be like that. Sometimes the greatest blessing can be born from when you're at your lowest moment.